Hi
Hi
guys,
guys.
you're welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Kia and I'm here with this fine boy. I hope you all are seeing this fine boy, the mustache and the beard. An amazing husband. He's called Bebonkeng and we are your hosts here at Trinity Relationships. So today we are going to be talking about social media and how it has affected the family. First at the level of the relationship as a couple and then even with the children. And before we go right to the topic, first see this clip. That's been on my mind a lot. What can I really do about it? I mean, the way it's been taking up a lot of my thinking time and even my mental abilities. Find myself going down and my productivity. And then you have the children. They seem to be growing so fast and I don't seem to be able to keep up with them. I don't even know how to handle them. I mean, what do I do? But who is the head of this home? My husband. I mean, I have a good idea. Babe. Babe.
Yes. What's the problem? I tell you, there's a new movie on Netflix, Equalizer. Master, I can't wait to watch the movie. And do you know that WhatsApp has been doing some, changes lately? Maybe noticing it.
Babe, I
You can
called.
now eat
Babe, I
it,
have a
you can now-
problem.
What's the problem now?
I have an issue that is really bothering me, and the children too. The children too. They're changing so fast. I mean, I feel that we need to step up our game of parenting. Babe, are you listening to me?
But they're growing now. When a child is growing, what do you expect? They have to change now.
If they're changing, it means that we need to change our parenting tactics or upgrade our parenting knowledge.
Don't bother about them, eh? They'll be okay.
Wow, they'll be okay.
You worry too much.
Wow. But babe, they're our children.
We don't know all the ones having children. Don't worry yourself. They'll be okay.
Babe, why are you only on your phone? I mean, this is something serious we are talking about.
I'm telling you about something serious I'm watching here.
Wow, it's very serious. More serious than our lives, than my life as your wife and your children.
Are you going anywhere? You're with me. We sleep together, we're chatting, we always sit here, we to discuss whatever you have in your mind.
Wow. This guy is always on his phone. Always on his phone. Who can I really run to? That my foolish friend that has 4 children already. I think she's going to give me wisdom. Or maybe should I go to the pastor? But what does the pastor know? He has just 1 child. He will not even be able to keep up with my 2 children. I think I'll go to my foolish friend. Let me leave this man alone. Always on his phone.
Okay, personally I think the introduction of social media, internet is amazing. It's an amazing technology. It has helped connect the world together, and things that would have taken ages for you to hear, you can hear the next second it has happened. And all these things are good. But I think that if care is not taken, these amazing tools can negatively affect a relationship and marriage. And I think that relationship nowadays, they are not deep as they were before the social media. I used to remember when we were younger, we used to have all these platform where we come as a family, we meet, we discuss family meeting. But now everybody is just busy. You are chatting with your imaginary friends, and your brother is in the house on the phone chatting with his own imaginary friend, and you can see 2 siblings. They know very little among themselves. But when we're growing up, you could know your brother has this tendency because you spent time with them. You were playing with them. You had storytelling together. People were fighting together. People had a lot of things to do together. But nowadays, the social media has come in. It's changing a lot of things. And I think that if you are married, you have kids, if you don't take careful notes on this, you may not even know the children you have in your own house. So I'll be asking my wife some questions. So what do you think about social media, and how do you think social media has affected you, your relationship with God, with your children, and with your husband?
I mean, when you're talking about those days where you could sit with your siblings, you get to know them. I was remembering a certain auntie. We loved being with her when we were in the village, because when we gather around the fireplace, There were some stories that she would tell us, and then those stories seem to never get old. And together,
That's how my grandma was too.
my sisters and I, we crammed the songs. For example, there was one song that used to go like this: if na me chop that rice, if na me chop that rice, oh cover pot will cover me, oh mommy water will swallow me, chachum. That was the song. So each time that she tells the story and she reaches there, you will see the way my sisters and I will be in this kind of ecstasy. You cannot even believe that it's just that song. We will sing it. Those are even blending it with alto and tenor, I mean. And I feel that during that time, I knew my sisters more than before we got than before we became
Android.
teenagers, and then we got phones. Then everyone was on the phone. Everyone sits and everybody's like trying to chat with this friend somewhere, and then you are not even minding your sister. Then coming to our relationship, social media has a way. It has a way. And the way it works to me is very subtle. Like it starts unharmful at the start, because I'm like, babe, do you know, like I'll show you that, okay, this changes, and you feel that we are bonding together, because it's like we are talking about these new things that seem to be a common point of interest to both of us. But you see, over time, because I will not always be with you, so those times I'm not watching those things with you, I'm obviously watching them alone, and I get now used to watching those things on my own. And then even in your presence now, I find myself following all those people I follow on Instagram, be watching their pages, YouTube videos, WhatsApp. Like I find myself spending a whole lot of time, and it's like I don't even have anything to tell you when you are with me. And then maybe my kids want me to carry them, to sing with them, to play with them, and I'm like, no, wait, let me watch this video, let me watch this picture, let me look at this thing, and you find me laughing alone. You know, sometimes my daughter will be like, mommy, you're laughing what? When you are so much into what you are watching, or you see them too, they'll be struggling to peep. Like my daughter especially, she'll be struggling to peep, and she's looking at the thing, and then you see her already, she'll take the phone and then she's trying to manipulate it, go to these pages and the rest. But those are things that have come as a result of we, the parents, first being into social media more than we are supposed to.
And I feel that most children now love the phone, because they see that the interest when they see their parents are in the phone. They see they feel that the phone has that thing they are looking for, because they see their parents, their sisters, everybody's on the phone. They come to the house
down.
And for me, parents cannot see again who their kids are, because when they're at home, they're with the phone. Their children are exhibiting a certain attitude or trait they cannot take time to observe. But in those days, without these things, you will sit and you're discussing them. You get to observe what is happening to them. You get to see the changes. But now with the social media, with the phones, smartphones, whose aim is to hook up, because I love the changes WhatsApp is doing, but when I look at these changes, the aim is to make sure that when you get into it, you don't leave. And this thing comes to fight the family and relationships in general. So I think they are good, but we have to apply discipline to make sure they don't creep into areas that we're not supposed to. So I think that. So how do you think that the phone, social media has affected your relationship with God? Do you think so?
Yeah, my relationship with God. I mean, like sometimes it's like you are okay. This today I'm praying for 1 hour straight. Before you know it, you are like, hey, I had to text this person. I had to get to this person. Or you see a certain mail that comes in and it's like, hey, this mail seems to be a life changer. Before you know, you take your phone and you're like, hey. And it's like you just abruptly end your prayer session. Or you see you see this notification of maybe someone you are really interested in. Sometimes the things may seem spiritual, yes. Sometimes it may seem spiritual, like, okay, for example, I'm praying. Let me look for a song on YouTube that I can use to change my atmosphere, so that it's going to get me into the moments, get me into the spirit, help me in my quiet time and the rest. But before I know it, I'll be like, hey, what is this girl saying? What is this other person saying? And you see that you don't even start the quiet time. Or sometimes when you started it, you just end it abruptly. So sometimes even the seemingly spiritual things on social media have a way that they still deviate you when you're trying to spend time with God. And even in our just ended retreat as a couple, you see, there was that temptation to be like, hey, let me just check this handle. Let me just check the social media handle. Let me just check this thing. And without knowing, it creeps into the time you're supposed to be spending with God and spending with your spouse. So for my relationship with God, like I've described earlier, I think it has really affected me. So to me, I'll recommend, if you're a music person or you want to listen to messages while maybe having your quiet time, it will really be essential for you to have a separate device. Maybe you can do a playlist already on your phone, then you connect it maybe say to a Bluetooth speaker and then let the songs play, rather than your phone being the only source of your music for you to charge up your atmosphere.
Personally, I think you could do it many ways. I think you could plan for your discussion or your quiet time with God. Get the things you have to get. Keep your phone somewhere. Put on fly mode. Because if you don't consciously plan, you're unconsciously planning the opposite thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that you should, in this day and age that we are, and the platforms trying to get our attention so they grow in their influence, grow in their finances, we do not have to fall prey. They are all good. Like when I just see the news, the information they bring is always has a tendency to deviate you to this issue. This one is happening in Ukraine. This one is happening in Russia. Yes, all those things are happening. He died in this thing. Yes, they are all true. But the Lord is saying something for you today that you need to be more aware of that than any other thing in the universe. There's something about your family, about your spouse, about your kids, about the assignment God has given you that should be priority today. If we do not set that discipline, I think the phone, social media, internet, all these platforms will only bring you to the other side of the other side, not really where you want to go to. Because when I look at how much parents, are knowing more and more little of their children, because before it was even difficult to really know their children when they grew, but now with social media it's worse. You find believers when they get up from their beds, the first thing they take is their phone.
Like you say, good morning WhatsApp, good morning Instagram, good morning Threads, good morning Twitter,
Facebook,
good morning Facebook.
And then once you go to the status, you watch the status for 1 hour, but you have not even prayed for 30 minutes.
Even to say thank God.
You have not even thanked God for that
at
day.
all.
So I think that is...
Or even greeted the person with whom you slept,
yes.
your husband.
You slept with your wife in the next morning. You have not even greeted and asked her, how did you sleep? What did the Lord tell you anything today?
What about waking up to pee at night and then you're like, let me just check what's happening on WhatsApp, then you continue?
Yes. You see, those are things that we have noticed that are creeping. But I feel that the Lord is calling our attention to that, and that's why we're sharing with you as well, that you should also keep your eye on these things. Because if you can spend half of the time you spend on Facebook and Instagram and all these platforms, you'll be amazed where you'll be with God today. And you'll be amazed how your marital issues are going to be solved. If couples just spend half of the time they spend on their phone to discuss among themselves, most of their marital problems will be settled. And they are going to have amazing revelations about what God is trying to show them about their kids, where He wants them to focus on raising their kids. A lot of things will be unveiled when you start discussing. And what has helped my wife and I is that when we start discussing, we are amazed at the things that I thought she was thinking this way. And then she thought I was thinking this way. But now when we discuss, like, okay, you are thinking this way. Why have I thought the opposite? Because there's no discussion. But when there's a platform to discuss, a lot of doubts, a lot of misconceptions are being settled. And that's how your relationship is going to grow.
Babe, there was this interview I was watching of some Asian children. I've forgotten the exact country, I've forgotten their names, but the interview was hosted by Priscilla Shira, the lady who acted Overcomer. So when she was interviewing those children, they were talking about how their parents kept them away from social media for a very long time. So what they did was, after school, they kept them occupied with things to do with their hands, to help them to be creative. And so that's how they started making some things. I've forgotten the name, but you use things like cardboard, paint, ink, and the rest. So they started doing it first. They started doing it for charity, to raise money for charity. And before you knew it, the amount of sales they were having, thousands of dollars per sales. And till today, you see the way those children talk. They have a mastery over the use of social media. They don't use it the way we see children nowadays using it. You see even teenagers being able to do sex tapes, being able to post nude pictures and the rest. I mean, it's horrible. And I think that all that springs from the exposure of social media. First, because they saw their parents using it, and secondly, because parents granted them the access to the use of social media. My father used to tell us in those days that if you don't reach the university, yes, he's not getting you a phone. And I mean, to me, it was a good safety mechanism for us. But nowadays, with the pressure, you see children 7 years old, they already have tablets, they have access to the internet, they have phones, and not any kind of phones. You see some small children with very expensive iPhones. Not that they should not use them, but are the parents really there all the time to regulate the use? With the way pornography is, you have free access to pornography nowadays. You have free access to hate speech. You have free access to evil teachings, if I can put it that way, that can derail the children and even you as a parent. Are we really ready to face the consequences of social media on our children? I think those are things that we should talk about. And even as a couple, I mean, if the parents have loopholes in their relationships, then definitely the children will be affected.
Yes, what I've always known growing up is that whatever you feed your children, they'll grow up to have the taste. She's from a different tribe from me. We all have a taste of our traditional being because we're fed with it.
Yeah.
If whatever you feed your children, if you feed them with the phone, the social media, that's the taste they're going to have. But if you feed them with the Bible, you feed them with the Lord, they'll grow up in the house of the Lord. So I encourage you, sit down if you're married. Personally, ask yourself, how is the social media influencing you? Ask yourself, if you're married, ask yourself how the social media is influencing your family, influencing your kids, influencing your walk with God. And I believe that God is going to speak to you. I believe that God is going to tell you things on the new steps to take. So that's what we have to share with you. And if you have been blessed, if you enjoy our content, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And make sure you also have a time that you watch our video, because we post our video mostly on Saturdays and Wednesdays. Give a particular slot. Don't just open your YouTube anytime as you want, but give a particular slot to the things you think that God is leading you to, and you're going to be blessed. And also, please share your comment on the comment section. Tell us how the social media has affected your life personally, and as a couple, if you're married, with your kids. So God bless you. Stay blessed.
See ya.
Ciao, ciao.